Alright guys, so we are here today doing a dry run of how to inspect your hive. This is just a 5-frame catch hive and I'm using for this purpose of the video. Generally as you start you will use your smoker. I'm not using my smoker for this video, but you will just puff a bit of smoke at the entrance just before you start opening it. As you open the hive, take the lid off. I generally just put it aside, either to the side of a hive or the back of a hive, depending on where I have space. This is just to help, basically just to, when you take a frame out, just to put it, or if you've got anything on top of it that you can put down on top of it. Go. So what you will do first is, I generally just give a puff or two of smoke inside here as well, just to get the bees moving down if they are on top. So what you will do is you'll just loosen your first frame, and it will also work on your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, working away from yourself. Just use your bee tool, lift the frame up, pick it up. Generally you will have to do it with the opposite side as well, depending on how much propolis there is. But generally, if you do inspect your hives quite often, they don't propolis it that much, so it's easy to remove. You can actually just take the frame out. Okay, so how I inspect my frames as well is I actually take it, twist around, look at for any traces of pollen and nectar in the comb. I also look for capped brood and larvae as well. I don't generally look for the queen, as she's quite difficult to find as well. So what I tend to do when I'm done with inspecting this frame, I put it to the side, and that's where the lid actually comes in and works quite well. So then going on to the second frame, you do exact same thing, you loosen it. And for those guys that do prefer using a frame grip, the process of using it is you just actually slide it over, clip it on, close it, and you can actually just lift the frame out. This makes it quite easy as well if you've got a heavy frame as well, or if you've got bees all over, not to squash the bees as you're trying to take the frame out. So that way as well, I check both sides, turn around, check it if it's clean. When I'm done with the second frame, I actually put it straight back into the hive and put it on the side. I do not tend to put this one outside as well. I keep it inside. And you will also have generally on your frames on the outer side less bees compared to on the inside, so I want to keep as much bees in the hive, more or less in the natural state as far as possible. So then going on to your third frame, you do exactly the same. Loosen it, and you can now take it out with frame grip or by hand, and you can inspect it as well. Think not to flip it over like this. If the comb is heavy as well, it will break, so always try and swivel it around, or what most guys do tend to do is they tilt it on the side, flip it around and flip it down. For me, it's, if you've got grip on the frame, it's easier just to swing it around and re-grip. Okay, so when we're down, we slide that one, we go on to the fourth, exact same process, getting it loose, picking it up, inspecting the frame, exactly the same. You can swap your arms around like I just did there, or you can actually just re-grip, twist it and regrip the frame as well. Okay, so it's same process with the last frame. If you're done inspecting, check it, twist it around, check if you're fine with it, see if you can find your cat brood, if the frame is fine, all that, and you put it back in. When you're done with your inspection, you need to put all the frames back in the order that you did find it. You can mix it around. There are different reasons for that, but I won't go into detail in this video why we would do it and how you would do it, but you can swap it around. But if you don't know what you're doing and why you want to do it, I would suggest not to do it at all. So when you've got your 4 frames back like that, you take your last frame, you take the first frame, slide it back in as well. I tend to just puff a bit of smoke after all frames are in, just to get the bees to move down before I put the lid on as well. But what you want to look out for as well is that your frames are quite snug against each other. You don't want that to happen, and your bees will after a few weeks start building burr comb between this big space between the frames. So always keep them as tight as possible. You can leave a bit of space more on the sides, that's not a problem at all. So as soon as you've given them a puff or two of smoke for the bees to get out of your way, you just slide the lid back on. There we go guys.